All right.
What's up, everybody?
Welcome to the stream. How's everybody doing today? We're coming to you from Korg, USA.
Here we are.
We're back, the duo.
In the studio.
In the studio, yes. In our new studio, our new space. I think you saw it. This is the second time we're using it, but I want to tell them a little about what we're doing today, James.
What are we doing today? We're doing some experimental stuff today. So we thought that we would get together with some products that you probably don't see together very often. We're taking the SV-2, obviously, great sounds for playing. And then we've got a bunch of Volcas here and, doing some backbeats for some cool jazz stuff. It's just kind of chill, kind of having fun, experimenting a little bit and kind of creating like an Electrojazz or like a Volca jazz thing.
100%. And I kind of said to James, I said, why don't you just try and like program some really cool beats? We'll take them apart. We'll show you what we did. And I'll talk a little bit about some of the jazz harmony, the stuff that I was playing. And we will see what we get today.
So we are jazzing out Korg style.
Yeah, but definitely feel free to ask your questions in the chat. We have other product specialists, Natalie, as well as product support. So happy to have you all joining us today. But James, why don't we just dive in first and just kind of talk a little bit about what kind of groove that was and what you're using today on the Volca side
absolutely. So I'm focusing on 3 Volcas today. We've got the Volca Sample 2. You can tell because it's got the USB and a couple of new neat tricks under the hood that we're using today. Including the looping feature, it gives it almost like a delay effect. We've got the Volca FM. FM is getting super hot. Op 6, right there. This is our first real FM product, from a few years ago, and still rocking and holding down like the melody line, and then or the chords. And then here we've got the new bass, and the new bass is just giving us some really cool bass. We're keeping like the cutoff like really low to get it nice and fat. Doing some sub oscillation here. That line that you heard.
Oh, that's such a great bass line.
Using a little slide action here, making sure that those slides are in place. Keeping it nice and simple. Got that sub oscillator up. Here's it without the sub oscillator.
Oh, the bass, it sounds killing.
We also got the swing in motion here. So swing is, of course, super important. So the Volca new bass and the Volca sample have a swing on it. I've got the swing up to about 35, 40 on these. So the FM, I'm just keeping it straight. So I've got that just doing on the ones and the I got that on the ones and the eights and stuff like that. The ones and the nines and just doing it like that. If you're counting 16, or the 1 and the 3, right? So that's how we're doing that.
Now, I kind of wanted, on the harmony side, I kind of told James to keep it simple, like let's just kind of experiment, evolve the groove. But on the jazz side of things, he's going to give you the Volca side, I'll give you the jazz side. But basically 2 simple chords. And you see I started the vamp. I'm using the SV-2 today, just my gear. I love the SV-2. It's really amazing to play piano, but also just these hands-on controls make it fun to just mess with the sound, get some really cool EPs. But I was using a regular grand piano, the Italian grand actually, and I started out with a vamp with 2 chords. It's the G major 7 and the B flat major 7. So that kind of minor third going up from, and it's a really nice movement. And actually, right? I mean, you were having fun, yeah. But just let it simmer a little bit. I think that's kind of what we were experimenting when we were kind of rehearsing for this. Is like it's fun to just
just keep the basics going and then just jam over it, right? And then the piano sound that you're using there is the
Italian grand. Yeah, and it's really. And kind of just messing around harmonically. If you look at my chords here, playing some nice full voicings like B flat major 7 with a nice F major triad up top, which makes it sound really nice and open, and a D major triad for the G major 7 chord. So it's a really nice open sound.
It's pretty.
Yeah. So what could we kind of mess with this now, James? Let's kind of just start turning some knobs. I don't know what's gonna happen.
You want to stay on this one or jump?
Or you want to? All right, let's jump to the next one and show us what you're gonna do, and then we'll kind of.
We have a few sounds. We have a few jams going on here. So let's jump into the next set of stuff.
Cool.
And let's just set to a minute to set that up.
And I'll give you some electric piano while you wait.
So this one I'm going to use the multi-chat pattern chaining feature on the Volca sample. So instead of just having one pattern play, I've got this little guitar progression going on across 4 different patterns. So what you do is you just hold the memory button, and instead of just hitting the one memory that you want, you hold it, and then you go to the last memory you want, and it'll show you right there.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's 5, 6, 7, and 8. So I've got that all set to go. Right? And then over here, I've got the corresponding pattern on I think 5 and 6.
Pause that for 1 second. For those of you who don't hear, if you don't have headphones in, it might be hard to hear, but there's an ascending line in there that James had. So play it again. I wanted to listen to it.
Yeah, I could actually solo it out.
Yeah.
So it's right here.
So this is a really cool line. There it is. That's the sound.
Yeah.
I like that. It's cool.
And that goes with the chords that I put down. That one too many. Hold on. Oh, that's why. I'll set up this one too. This one's just a straight single pattern on the bass. So we're gonna go right here. I got this kind of like walking bass line now, so we're getting into some walking stuff. You bring up the swing a little bit. There you go. Give it a little more feel.
Give me the bass, James. The bass. the SV-2 side, let's add some modulation. Drop it out completely. That's fun. So I asked James, I said, James, cut them for a second. I wanted to cut the bass out to kind of give a little bit of a different harmonic progression there. But we started out with some C minor. That was the vamp. But then we kind of went, right? Then the G, so kind of C minor 7.
Yeah.
Then to that B flat minor 7, E flat 7, and then to that A flat 7 there. So just trying to mess around with it a little bit. Anything else that we're going to cover there as far as what's going on with the Volcas on this particular patch?
In this particular case, no. I mean, we're going straight forward. Somebody mentioned the beat's kind of just repeating itself. So what I did there, though, was I used a trick where I had basically the same pattern repeating 4 times. So we've got 5, 6, 7, and 8 were in a loop, in a pattern chain. But I wanted to just show the slight variance there, where one of those samples, the guitar sample, I was changing the pitch on each measure. And what I was doing was locking that in chromatically so that when I played the progression, I was only hearing that thing change. And that was allowing to have that progression kind of follow what was going on with the Volca FM. So once again, if you just kind of let it go, it's slight. But it's a cool trick to show you how you can get something chromatically. We do get a lot of questions about, hey, can I do things where like those piano stabs or samples that I load in can be kind of handled a little bit more chromatically? So there's a couple of ways you can try to do that. What I like to do sometimes is I'll slow down the tempo all the way, and then I will actually use the digits on the screen to show me what pitch I'm at. And that'll help me to kind of create a progression inside of a pattern. But another way of doing it is the way you do it here, where you basically just change that sound and you make sure that pitch is exactly where you need it to be. So as you're playing it with each one, and then just find where that is, and then you've got that. So you go from here.
That's awesome.
Sometimes hard to do on the fly, depending on how complex your chromatic pattern, your musical pattern is. So in this case, I just wanted to do it that way. Use the filters more frequently. Make it ambient.
Cool.
We can do that.
Now, just on the SV side, what was going on there? Like I mentioned at the beginning of the streams, I know some of you out there have the SV-1 or SV-2, but the panel makes it very easy to dial in some modulation. And I just went ahead and added the black chorus at a speed of 3 and intensity of 6. And you can hear. It's a really nice sound.
Yeah.
That's also combined with the amplifier on the tweed setting and a vibrato in the pre-effects category. So just to give you a little sample, and James, maybe while I'm doing that, you can cue up the next one or get it going. Sure. But I'm going to start going ahead and just changing. One of my favorites is U-Vibe in the pre-effects category. Oh yeah, silky smooth. But give a listen to this. So really, really nice. I can come over here also, add a little bit different. Maybe let's get a little spring. Here we go in the ambient category. That's a really, really awesome sound. Oh, there we go. All right, we got Queens, New York in the house.
Where?
Oh, Queen, where? Another thing I could do on the SV-2, I'm going to go ahead and split it here. So since you were giving me a little beat there, but you can split this keyboard, and it's pretty nice.
I'm from Queens. Queens in the house. Part of Queens, RJ.
Costa Rica, wow. All
So
right.
we're getting a couple questions real quick. Sujit, I know that you're interested in the Kross 2. I would like to talk about that for just a second. Awesome keyboard. We have a stream on it from a while back. If you can't find it, the things that are really cool about it is that it really gives you a lot of capabilities for not a lot of money. It is a true workstation. You can do combinations, layers, splits, all of that. It's got a drum sequencer built in, a regular sequencer built in. It's also got a ton of effects, and it has true sampling with editing and audio recording. So you could do that with an SD card. It's a great product. If you're really looking to delve in with something that's going to give you a lot of capability and be really easy and top level to use, I definitely recommend you check out the Kross 2. It comes in two configurations currently. The 61 in matte black, that's a rubberized finish for being road ready. And then the 88 MB will be the weighted action. That is our NH4 action, and that is a great weighted action. It's also very lightweight, and both of them can run on 6 AA batteries regardless of the size.
That's pretty awesome. Also, there is a new episode for those of you who follow Patch of the Week.
Yes.
We just did last Friday, came out a new episode of Patch of the Week that I did on the Kross 2, and it shows you how to do some cool things in combination mode of introducing another sound with the modulation wheel. So if you want to check it out, and definitely great keyboard there. All right. Mm-hmm. So without further ado, let's move on. We have, I believe, two more different.
We have two more different kinds of things we're doing here,
and we're gonna
try to play a little bit more with the filters too, because take care of the fans.
Oh yeah, the fans want the filters. The fans want filters.
This was going to go up a little bit more up tempo. What I wanted to do here was I used this kind of interesting trick. The new Volca sample's got this thing called loop. The way that the loop works is that it will automatically loop the sample, start point to end point, and then just wrap it back around without you having to play it. In certain capabilities, you can use it as a delay. So on top of it having a dedicated reverb that you can assign to each part, you can also kind of use it like a delay, because it'll eventually, once you stop playing, it'll kind of just bounce out and go down. But you could also use it to create noise in the background. So if you want something that's not quite so clean, like with what I did here with the snare pattern, I kind of had like ghosting notes in the background, almost like you were scraping the brushes along the snare.
Nice.
To kind of give it a little bit of that noisiness, and I wanted that. So I used that in this. Let me take the swing down a little bit. Let me get to that part of the pattern so I can show you what I'm talking about here. So. See that in the background? Let's see if I can mute it. So what that's doing is that's looping a very low sample. I took the filter down quite a bit. I've got the high cut. And what it's doing is just providing a little bit of like that kind of, when you're micing drums, you get a little bit of that noise sometimes, right? You get a little bit of the noise of the drums. And that's what I want to kind of recreate there. So I put that underneath there, and what it's doing is it's giving it a little bit more of an organic feel, and I like that very much. So Back to this again. Okay. I do talk fast. It's that New York thing. I'll slow down a little bit. So we've got that. Let me just get this going here, and we'll get this all set up. So a lot. Yeah, it starts on the G major 7, and then goes up to the A flat. Yeah.
Let's go into an F.
I'm going to bring up the K on this a little bit. And the LFO.
We got a cool most epic. I don't know what your actual name is, but that's very cool. Nautilus M1 look, big fan, proud owner of 88 Chrome and 88 Chronos. Very awesome.
Cool. The grad stage. The grad stage is most epic. Little Lucky Me light.
It's interesting. He also has D minor, which is cool. man, that one's like cool.
Yeah, that was the brush. That was the sample being looped. So as I was talking about before.
Very cool. Well, by the way, for everyone who is joining, Travis, thank you for the positive feedback. I love videos like this, and we're trying to have some fun. Just do something different. Making some music is most important. If any of you are having poor audio quality, I'm sorry about that, but
Yeah. We checked our stream pretty much before. I thought
should be okay. But if it's not coming through clear, then technical difficulties, they happen, and we're live.
Yeah,
so
we're live.
Exactly. A couple things. Italian grand isn't my favorite. I haven't heard of any issues with the Italian grand, to answer someone's question, but it is actually my favorite piano sample. And I know you mentioned something with the A, but let me get back to my Italian grand sample. But so there it is. All right. So
when your lounge lizard becomes a different reptile.
Exactly what we're going for.
A bearded dragon in a smoking jacket? Just, I don't know.
100%. Cool. So we already got that. We're just checking the comments.
Yeah. A lot of good comments.
He said he most Epic cannot take his eyes off the SV-2. It's a beautiful instrument, definitely. This is the SV-2 SP, for those of you who are joining us, with this built-in speakers that are designed by K-Array. So they sound really, really, really nice.
The history of the SV is an interesting one.
Yes.
I mean, the SV-1 was around for a very long time, and then we basically just, knocked it out of the park with way more PCM, 10 times the samples under the hood, the speakers, the new cream color for the speaker ones, and just like that same great workflow that works from left to right. So like you could visualize your sound on the panel, and that's always been a big thing for Korg, to make sure that you're always able to see what's going on. There's not a screen on this. You don't need a screen on this. It's a very live product, and that's what's really cool about it. You can get under the hood. It's a free editor. You can get in there. You can see all the different timbres that you could approach, and you can create your own layers. You don't even have to create your own splits on the editor. You can do it here. You can create your splits on the fly here, which is also great. So it's really built to be a live product and just feels great. Best action that we've got. All that kind of cool
stuff.
For
those of you who also want to check out a little bit deeper on the editor, there is a new tutorial video that posted actually within the past 2 months, I want to say. And Luke from Korg in UK did an amazing, amazing, amazing video diving deep into how to use the editor for the SV-2, which is the computer program. And it's so awesome. And you can really just design, you can layer up to 3 different sounds, and it's really, really powerful and easy to use. And we also did some patch of the weeks on SV-2. So if you want to check those out also, definitely look them up on YouTube. Now, the next thing, and we're going to keep the stream not too long today, but I want to talk a little bit about why I'm excited to kind of integrate some of the Volcas into my flow. Some of you mentioned that we are looping, a drum groove and having some fun with it and keeping it going. But a lot of times I practice with a metronome, and that's just the way as a pianist I like to incorporate that into my practice. And I think it's pretty awesome to be able to have, even if it's just one Volca, something that's going to be a timekeeper for you, to program some sort of reoccurring rhythm and just kind of go off from there and explore and have some fun rhythmically. So I asked James for this next one to kind of just figure out some stuff that we can do in a different odd meter. So we're going to do something in 7, but just to see how we can kind of have some fun with it. And James, you want to talk a little bit about how we're going to put this together? And
so this is actually a pretty cool trick. So you do have an active step button on your Volcas, and the active step button, it's the same thing as the play button, but if you hold the function button, you could see which of the 16 steps are actually active. Now, if you're in a situation where you want to get a variation to what you're doing, you could just start like exiting out steps, and it'll jump across those steps that are not lit. But if you want to have a little bit more control over it, what you can do is you could use it to create odd meters. So in this particular case, with a 16-step pattern, by eliminating the last 2 steps, you're going into 7 time, right? And that's what we did here. And we did this on both the Volca sample and on the Volca FM. So here again, if I do the same thing with function and active step on this pattern, this last pattern that I wrote, you'll see here again, these last 2 steps are not active. And what that does is that allows it to be in 7 time. Now, if you have 2 Volcas, you can even do some weirder stuff. You can create some polyrhythms and polymeters if you set the active steps to different things. And I covered that in a live stream a little while back where I used polymeters on the Volca bass. So for each of the sequencing lanes, I had them doing different things, and they kind of like wrapped around in a modular way where it wasn't like right on the 4 or right on anything really. So it kind of extended out and created some polymeters. So I'm doing that here, and it's something that Luciano really liked playing to. So here it is. We've got a very, very slight kind of like arpeggiated thing in the background here just to kind of enunciate what he's doing. But the real thing is here on the Volca sample having the 7/4 time.
Well, I think it's 7/8, right?
7/8 time.
And before you dive into that, James, I just want to answer a question. How are the sounds in relation to the Nautilus, for instance, live gigs? So I presume you're referring to the SV-2, but the Nautilus is going to be a workstation. So the variety and the amount of sounds is going to be much, much more. I mean, it's really packed.
Yeah. So the major difference here, and I should note that they all share content, like, because we're Korg and we like to hear, like, we've got Italian Grand. We like to hear it in different products. And really it's the hardware that's a different configuration is what suits you. The Nautilus, the Kronos, any workstation has thousands of sounds, between the program mode, which gives you the singular sounds, and the combination mode, which gives you things like program splits, layers, more musical, rhythmic things, thousands of sounds. This is more like dedicated to let's call it the really driving performance sounds, meat and potato type stuff. Lots of pianos, electric pianos, basses, synths, strings, but lots of them. And also the sampling quality specifically on the SV is such that it really gives you super duper high quality sounds. So this package also a lot less complicated in a way because there's so much you can do to dive into under the hood on a Nautilus with the sequencer, with the sampler, with all those things. You may not need that stuff. You may just want a straightforward, really great feeling, great sounding product to play and something that gives you ease of use when it comes to programming your own sounds. That's when you go with something like the SV or the Grand Stage. And we're just using the SV. And he wants to hear a little bit of it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So just a little quick thing on the SV2. If you have very quick access, 8 banks, A through H of favorites. So I can simply press the type button here and then they start flashing. And if I want to go to bank 1 or bank A, click A. So here we go, A. And I can now select any of the 8 combinations. So I'll play you just 2 of the piano sounds. Of course, my pleasure to answer your question. So let's see. That's the first German Grand, which is really, really nice. And I know some of you are joining us later, but we checked out the Italian Grand before, but
brighter.
it's really, really nice. I don't know if you could hear it. If you don't have headphones in, it might be tough. But the damper sound.
Mm-hmm.
When I press the damper pedal, I hear the actual dampers lifting off of the strings, which is really, really nice.
Yeah, they sampled every part of the instrument. We got a question from Andy. Is the Volca World coming through the SV2 speakers? It is not. Actually, we're not using the speakers for this session. We're not miking them. We're going through our mixer. We're going to be using our SoundLink mixer, which is basically giving you everything. That's a Korg mixer that we've brought onto the market that does really great live streaming product. You're seeing it being used. It gives you a nice stereo feed, and it's all really awesome. So we've got the speakers off for the session, so they don't get into the microphone, and then we're mixing through the Volca mix. So we've got these 3 Volcas going through the Volca mix, and that Volca mix output going into a dedicated set of stereo inputs on that mixer. And that's what's happening there. So we're just blending the 2 through the mixer with the microphone, and that's what you get.
Thank you. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but Miluz. I appreciate the nice feedback. And somebody said the level's dipping a little bit when playing piano. We'll look into that for you guys next time. Make sure that the audio is 100%.
Yeah, no. We appreciate the honest feedback because we always want to improve on these things. Obviously, we are dedicated to making sure that these streams are as awesome sounding and looking as they possibly can be. And if there's anything causing like a compression thing or whatever, we'll check into that. Absolutely. Maybe we're even too hot.
It's possible.
Like the signal might be a little hot.
Now, one other thing, by the way, for the speakers on SV, you don't have to look anywhere or access some menu to shut them off. There's actually a switch right on the back, speaker on and off, which is really, really nice. Because even if I'm at a gig, to be honest with you, because when I'm playing, I'm playing chords, I like to feel when the speakers are on, you feel a little bit of the vibration of the speakers. Mm-hmm. And it kind of feels more close to when you're playing a real piano. So a lot of times when I'm on gigs, not that I've had too many gigs since COVID, because that's when the SV-2 came out, but I do like built-in speakers, even if I'm not using them for the primary amplification, but just to feel the vibration of the instrument, which is, I don't know.
You want a funny tip?
Sure.
A funny tip is, yes, we now got the speaker on-off thing in the back, which is awesome. Somebody had asked me, well, what if I don't want to reach around to get the switch? Like while I'm playing, or if I'm on a gig, I don't want to kind of like have to fumble for the switch. All good.
Yeah.
All you have to do is get a 1/4-inch headphone adapter, put it in the headphone jack in the front. And when you put the headphone jack all the way in, it defeats the speakers. When you pull it out like this, you just go pop it out, the speakers come back on. So It's kind of like an interesting hack, but it's cool if you want like the instant access as well, on top of having the speaker thing on the background, which is sort of like premeditated if it's up against the wall or the way you're going to do your gig. But if you had to switch it really quickly and you wanted to have a little bit more front panel access to this, just pop it in and pop it out.
I love it.
It works really well. So just for what it's worth.
Now,
I like life hacks. What can I say?
Before we dive into the seventh thing, the groove I was kind of thinking when I told James, I was like, all right, so now just pause that for 1 second. Oh, there you go. I see the sample. That's going to be cool. So when I started, a little fun fact, I used to hate playing in odd meter. So I used to just be, from a jazz perspective, jazz story, I used to just love swinging, like nice in 4, nothing like it. And when I got to college, it was like, okay, it's time to do odd meter. And I was like, oh, like I don't feel comfortable in it. So I would just sit with like, a metronome with the downbeat in 7 so I could feel the downbeat and just try and get like somewhat more comfortable playing it. But now I kind of wish that I had the Volca. I could just program something quickly that would be kind of more musical to practice along too.
Well, check this out.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you say that. So if I clear the pattern, which I'm about to do, I'm going to clear all, right? So the pattern's gone.
Yeah.
Right? So if I want, what I can do is I can just go right into real-time mode. I can pick a sample. So let's pick a couple of samples that just work. Like something percussive, right? I'm looking for a clap. Okay, 78. Okay, on the fly. Use a live performance. So if you were going to do something where you wanted to do step mode and go 1, watch. So you can go 1, 2, 3, 4. And now you got your regular metronome, right?
Nice.
Right? Or you could do it where the first one hits, and then the second one could be your down, right? Your downbeat. Right? So now you got your custom metronome, right?
Yeah. So even right. So now let's see what you got.
Now if you do the active step thing and you just shut off the last two pieces, the last two things, now you've got your
there's a 7.
So you have your own custom metronome right here too. Uh, 6/8.
So that's awesome. See, like even that, just to have that flexibility. And let's go back, call up the rhythm again. Oh, that's it, right. Now James is messing with my time now. Now I lost all sense of time. Right, where's the one? All right.
Here's your beat back.
Give me the beat back. All right. Let's get a little EP going here. Let's see. Oh, maybe a clav. Let's see it. Oh, that's kind of cool. Okay, scroll down so we see the comments.
More comments. 5-4. Could do 5-4. Yo, Korg, can I ask you a question? Yes, you can.
That's all the way the other way.
You certainly can. Clav. Play take 5. They want take 5.
So we just gotta play take 5 and 7, right?
Oh, you can play take 5 and 7 or take 5 and 5.
Let's do it at 5.
Okay, here we go. More swing. Hold on.
I forgot the bridge. Oh wait, wait, pause that for a second. So, funny story. Take 5 in jazz school. All the guys like, oh man, you got to play. Oh, thank you, Brian. Sorry, I forgot the bridge. Wait. That's it, the bridge. But anyway. In jazz school, it's like, oh, what are you going to play here, man? What's the next rhythm? What's the next thing? So I was always like, as soon as I get one odd meter thing, somebody would throw something else, and then it just gets more and more complicated. And I just want to get settled in to one. All right. Hypno said we just sold him on an SV-2. All right. So
awesome.
Let's do this. James, pull up that original.
Which one? The original one?
I'll play that again now. See, now you play something.
Is velocity controlling the wah filter or a pedal? No, we're not using a pedal. This is a velocity sensitive wah.
It is, yeah. So
that's built in.
Great point there, actually. So if I go back to that clav sound, you can hear I get the wah sound when I really.
Oh yeah, Korg answered that.
Cool, they answered it. But the pedal functionality, I have the damper being used, and there are 2 additional pedal inputs on the back of the SV-2.
Right.
So you can calibrate it or whatever pedal you're using, and you can use that to control the wah if you want, which is pretty good.
Yeah. Use XVP20 or an EXP2. Those are the 2 pedals that we have that do that. They got the right voltage and everything like that.
Like you said, you were brave for trying Take 5 blind. Well, you know what? Like, we're just doing it out here. We're trying to have some fun.
We're having some fun.
There's no shame here, you know? Just trying to put out some music and have some fun. So let's close it out, though, James, with that rhythm. I want to hear what else you programmed with the Volcas in 7, because I think we only started introducing the drum pattern first, and then we're going to add in some other things that you had.
The arpeggiation.
I want to hear what you had.
And that's in C, I think.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Yeah, it's in C.
And we can get different.
How much swing you want on this?
Not that much. Actually, we can ask that to our audience. James said, how much swing do we want in this groove? Who wants more swing and who wants less swing? Drop a comment.
How about this?
No, right? Let me hear the output. said balance swing.
Balance swing. There you go.
It sounds good. All right. Start having some fun. Pause that for 1 second, James. And just, oh, I love that. So what are the chords? Because since we're doing this jazz thing, so C minor 9. We're actually with the 11 there. Hope you can see my voicings there. And then to E flat sus. So with these voicing is, and then so we got C minor 11. E flat sus, and then A flat major 7. That's like a really cool R&B thing.
Yeah.
And then the G sharp 9. Then you can kind of add those grace notes, and that's what's kind of making it feel nice. And I have to tell you, oh yeah, there he's breaking down. On the SV, the action is so smooth that I love like the feel of just being able to kind of go like yeah, it's great. You could add a D, extra chord in there. Give it a listen to the D. Here it comes. Cool. Now, before we close out, I want you to ask any final questions that you have. Drop them in the comments now, and then I guess we'll play them off with that groove, and we'll be out for this week. But
absolutely.
What do we have coming up? What's in 2 weeks? We have a stream coming up. Just to let you all know.
2 weeks, we are diving into the Volca kick and the NTS1
with Natalie
together.
So Natalie is going to be on that stream in 2 weeks. Very excited for that. So definitely tune in. We're going to keep going with the Volcas a little bit more.
Yeah.
Which should be really, really, really fun. Now, Natalie is in Chicago. We're in New York here. So hopefully then we'll do a giant collaborative stream and we'll put it all together, all three of us.
It's in the plans.
It's in the plans.
It's in the plans.
All right, cool. Well, listen, we'll play you off, James. We have that groove.
Seventh groove?
Oh, we have, yes.
Yeah. Cool.
Natalie said she's looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it.
All right.
Awesome.
We'll play you guys off, but thank you so much for joining us today. Just wanted to have some fun with some Electrojazz at Korg. My name is Luciano Minetti.
I'm James.
And this is James. And thanks again for joining us today. We'll see you at the next live stream. Ah.